American Airlines and the Empire Sports Network proud to bring you the 1998 NWCA All-Star Wrestling Classic from the University at Buffalo. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Bob Koshinski from the Empire Sports Network, joined by former Olympic and gold medalist, world champions Kurt Angle, Bruce Baumgartner, joined in just a second by Jeff Blatnick, himself an Olympic gold medalist, as we're here for the 1998 NWCA All-Star Wrestling Classic. The finest collegiate wrestlers in the nation assembled here tonight at the University of Buffalo. And Kurt, some of the top guys in the country will be right here on the mats in front of us this evening.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of great matches tonight, but my favorite tonight will be Jason Robeson, who is undefeated this year, 30-0 coming into the All-Star match. He had a disappointing 1997 NCAA tournament where he finished 6th, and I know he wants to get that back this year. And, you know, he might not be the most talented wrestler here tonight, but he's definitely the most dedicated, not to mention he is a Western Pennsylvania resident, which is where I'm from, and he's coached by Bruce Baumgartner, so he does have a double advantage.
Bruce Baumgartner, coach at Edinburgh. And Bruce, there's also some other fine wrestlers here tonight. You've got your eye on one.
Oh yeah, 134 pounds, Mark Ironside is a returning national champion. He's 20-0 this season, was 30-0 last season. He has a 50 match win streak. He was coached by Dan Gable. He has that Iowa mystique about him. I'm sure you're going to see a great match from him this evening.
All right, let's take a look now. Many of you may be familiar with the high school rules or the freestyle rules. In the NWCA Wrestling Classic, you will have, first of all, the first period 3 minutes, the second period, third period, both 2 minutes. If it goes overtime, it'll be a 2-minute duration. If they're still tied at that point, they go into sudden death, 30-second, second overtime. First points win. And of course, looking at the scoring for this evening's matches, you'll see, first of all, 5 seconds on the mat, you'll get awarded 3 points for a near fall. Less than 5 seconds, you have 2 points. Moving on down the list, let's take a look. Takedown, 2 points. And as we go on down, reversals worth 2 points. And then we have the 1-point escape, the 1-point stalling, and 1 point for riding time, which is awarded in collegiate wrestling. Now for more on the match here tonight, quite a coup for the University of Buffalo. Let's turn to our Olympic gold medalist, Jeff Blatnick. Jeff?
Thank you, Bob. And Jim, this is a high visibility event in the sport of wrestling. What does it mean to the University of Buffalo, the student body?
It means a tremendous amount to me personally and my team, because this is the direction we're headed. You know, 8 years ago, this was a Division III university. Programs were Division III. We're all Division I now. We all want to attain this kind of attitude, you know, and this kind of success. But again, personally, at the University of Buffalo wrestling program, you know, I'd like to eventually have people that are invited to these kind of events, and we're training and working very hard. And again, you know, it's just great to have it here.
How about the exposure for your program in helps of recruiting some of the top athletes to the University of Buffalo so you can compete on a national scale?
I've got to tell you, we've been very successful recruiting the type of athletes that we want on this team already. But having the focus be on our gymnasium and our facility and our university now makes it easier. Maybe people that didn't know we were out there and they weren't aware of the University of Buffalo now may become a little more aware.
Any athletes to watch tonight?
Oh yeah, there's a tremendous amount. 118 pounds should be very exciting. Stephen Abbas is a true freshman. He's ranked '1 in the country right now, and just a talented athlete. One of my favorite weight classes this year is heavyweight. Stephen Neal and Aaron Richardson. You know, they're both 6 foot 4 inches tall, 250 pounds, and they're such great athletes. You can't even believe it. They can slam dunk a basketball. They can do backflips, standing backflips. You know, and that kind of athletic ability doesn't come around often in any sports.
Well, Jim, we thank you very much. I'm glad you mentioned the heavyweights, one of my favorites. We're going to be back with the 118-pounders in just a moment.
Welcome back to the University at Buffalo. Bob Koshinski, joined by Bruce Baumgartner, Kurt Angle. It is the 1998 NWCA All-Star Wrestling Classic. We're starting out at 118. It's Stephen Abbas from Fresno State taking on Teague Moore of Oklahoma State.
Wrestling for Fresno State is Stephen Abbas. This guy upset Moore in the Vegas tournament earlier this year. Very quick on his feet, very good on his feet. He could win it as a freshman. He's only a redshirt freshman, so we're looking for big things to happen this year for him.
Looks like Moore's in trouble here from southern Pennsylvania. Teague was a 3-time state champion in high school and was 4th last year in the NCAAs.
So Steve Abbas with a quick 2-0 takedown. It's 2:28 to go here in the first period, just underway.
Moore is struggling to get away right now, and it seems like Abbas really jumped out to a quick start and shocked Teague a little bit.
That's one thing about these Fresno State kids. They come out right away. They look for an opening, and they get the score. Very good on their feet. They're not as polished on top or bottom, but even his older brother, Jerry Abbas, he was a 3-time NCAA runner-up and never really had the success at winning the title, and hopefully his brother Steven can do it this year.
Moore looking to get the reversal here.
Stop. Got 1 point red, technical violation, locking hands, 1 red.
Locking hands.
That was a big point for Moore.
They gave it to Moore, but they gave it to Moore, but they gave the points to Moore, but they penalized red for some reason. I'm not sure what that meant.
1, 2.
Bad mistake by Teague Moore, trying a roll or a Granby roll. It gets caught on his back, giving up 2 back points. That's going to be very costly, coming out and trailing by 3 points against someone like Abbas.
Moore gets the escape. We're going to see right here, Moore in on the leg. Very nice shot.
Nothing yet. Got a 4-2 count here. 1 minute to go in the first.
The knee is.
Stalemate.
Well, that's flexibility. I don't know.
Tonight's official, Brian Manzi of Connecticut, stopping. He'll start him over. We got 54 seconds to go here in the first period, guys.
Well, that's a lot of scoring for the first 2 minutes of a bout.
Especially these guys, very high ranked, have wrestled each other a numerous amount of times in high school and here at the college level. So I'm sure they respect each other a lot, and they've beaten each other many times. And to come out here and score points like this, that's pretty good.
30 seconds to go here in the opening period. Abbas up by a 4-2 count. Moore in on the leg.
Well, Abbas just seems to be doing an excellent job on countering Teague Moore's attacks.
Nothing yet.
The one thing Moore has to do in this situation is he's pausing after he shoots in. He needs to finish right away, especially on a guy like Steven Abbas, who is very good at defense, and he's finding himself in trouble. Here he finally gets the points, but he had to work a lot harder than he really needed to.
Well, he got the 2 just before the buzzer, so it's all tied up at 4. We've got an exciting first period here at the 118-pound weight class.
Yeah, they didn't stop it. Okay. He's saying this is 10
Excellent
seconds
first
on right
period.
now. When I call locked hands,
And the discussion here at the table is the official Brian Manzi.
So what we got to do is
Just alerting the clock tender that riding time had to have been stopped during the locking of the hands.
1:14.
Gentlemen, we're looking at collegiate wrestling. As I said earlier, many of our viewers may be familiar with the high school style or freestyle, as you've both been very successful in both. What is the biggest difference right here as we take a look at this replay?
Well, obviously, you're giving up points right there. In most cases in freestyle, whenever you expose your back like that, you're going to give up points. But here in collegiate style, there are no points awarded until you get complete control, and that's what he ended up doing.
So we're starting out the second period. We're all knotted up at 4 here at the 118-pound weight class. Steven Abbas of Fresno State. He's on top, running out Teague Moore of Oklahoma State.
Keep working, guys.
Teague is right from your neighborhood down there in North Allegheny in Pittsburgh, isn't he?
What?
Kurt?
We take a lot of pride in our wrestlers in Western Pennsylvania. Teague just happens to be one of the most successful in college right now, along with your boy Jason Robeson up at Edinboro. So I'm looking for big things from both of them, especially Robeson finishing up his college career. I think he could win it this year.
Teague Moore with the escape. He's now leading at 5-4. So, fellas, he was down early, but he's come back in this.
Yeah. Abbas still has the advantage in the college wrestling. If you're on top of the person, you get what they call advantage time, and Abbas has 1 minute and 35 seconds. If the match ends with one person having more than a minute than the other, the person with the minute advantage time will get an additional point.
Teague Moore placing 4th last year in the NCAAs. You know, this is his 3rd year, a junior. Abbas is still a freshman. He may be a redshirt freshman, but he's still not experienced. It's really amazing to see somebody at this weight class, especially such a tough weight class, stepping forward and having a #2 ranking right away before the All-Star match. That's amazing.
35 seconds left here in the second period. She said Abbas undefeated coming in.
It'll be very interesting to see in the third period how the wrestlers hold up with the
Let's go, guys. Come on.
new weight classifications and with the travel coming in here just yesterday. Moore in on another leg shot. Again, having some difficulty finishing the technique. Oh, again, right at the buzzer, 2 points for Moore.
So Teague Moore with a takedown again just before the buzzer. He leads at 7-4, although Abbas does have that 1 minute and 32 second advantage. But Moore will start working on that right now.
Tell you, those takedowns at the end of the period, like Moore had scored, are very difficult to overcome. It really doesn't give Abbas an opportunity to get away like he just did.
1 point escape there for Stephen Abbas.
Like Bruce said, when you get taken down at the end of the period, it's like 2 takedowns, because if you can't escape, you can take 1 point away by having the 1 point escape. So a takedown at the end of the period is very costly for any wrestler on bottom.
But Abbas with 3 points in this period, he's not at the score on the scoreboard, plus he's running up that advantage on the riding time.
Go, guys, come on.
Moore is going to have to get away here pretty quick to give himself some time to get a takedown to get back in this.
I got a warning, top man, green, top man.
And we got a warning stalling on Abbas. Another warning, and he'll be awarding a point to Teague Moore.
It definitely looks like the official's not going to let the wrestlers rest at all in these bouts. It's
No.
Now he's got the leg and he's got the arm, and Manzi won't let him bring it back. Abbas very comfortable with the leg in. He loves riding on that hip.
Yeah, he's got those hands locked in between the legs. It's a very difficult position for Moore to get out of.
I don't think the official's going to let this one go. Abbas is in a bad position to score, and there's no way Teague Moore is going to give it up. So, if anything, nice movement by Abbas, coming over the top instead of backwards. But it backfires on him right here.
That reversal is going to put Moore ahead if he can hold on.
Out of bounds with 10 seconds, and the scoreboard has Moore up by 9-7 count. Though Abbas will receive a point for the riding time, but he's still down 1 here then.
Injury time,
Red. We got injury time here as Moore's off the edge of the mat.
Moore's going to have to hold him for the 10 seconds to win, and if not, it's going to go into the overtime.
I thought Abbas was going to get some back points there. Apparently he was not awarded any.
It certainly looked it. We didn't have a good view from our vantage point, but it could have gone either way, I think.
Let's take another look here at the move here.
Well, Abbas went over top instead of backwards, so the ref wouldn't stop it. It was a beautiful move. He could have gotten back points here, but I think the official was a little bit slow at the count, and Moore was able to come on top, hit the reversal, and get the 2 points. Now he's ahead by 1 point, and Abbas only has 10 seconds to get it back.
Another sweep of the arm would have been 2 points, back points, but the referee just saw
one more,
45 years.
1 more second on that near fall there. It would have been another 2 points, but Moore's shoulders were pretty far off the mat at first until he settled down. That's when he got to 1 count.
And right there is one of the biggest differences between freestyle and scholastic.
1 minute use.
That would have been 2 points for sure in the freestyle realm.
Surprisingly, Moore has been letting Abbas throw the legs in, letting him have the guillotine, the banana split, almost like he wants to set up a reversal from there.
Well, Abbas needs 1 point, and Moore's sitting on the ankle.
Very difficult to get away from in 10 seconds.
He'll just sit on that, and that's going to end it. And Teague Moore is going to win this one by a 9-8 count. So an exciting first match here between the 218-pounders.
Excellent match, high-scoring match. Somewhat unusual for 2 nationally ranked caliber guys to score that many points.
And right now, let's go to Jeff Blatnick as he talks to the winner, Teague Moore.
Okay. Teague, was that match everything you expected it to be?
No, it was a little slower tempo than I had wanted to wrestle, but we went all 7 minutes, and that's what I was hoping for.
You know, it had to be a big match for you. Your top-ranked opponents in the same weight class. You got the Nationals coming up. How big a factor do you think this will be for seeding at the national tournament?
Particularly in my weight class, this match right here was very important. I wasn't going to be able to see Steven again until the Nationals, and with him beating me earlier in the year, I needed to get this win back for a better seed.
How does this now make you think about the national tournament and your chances there?
Pretty good. I'm kind of excited. I'd been down this past week with a flu and wasn't able to get on the mats at all, so I was kind of nervous coming out here. Didn't know how my lungs would be or how my body would react, but kind of just got back into the groove once I got out there.
Well, you look great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome back, University at Buffalo, 1998 NWCA All-Star Wrestling Meet. Let's take a look at some action from the 126-pound match. It was number 2 ranked Dwight Hinson of Iowa State taking on the number 3rd ranked wrestler in the nation, Eric Jeton of Wisconsin. And this was a victory for Jeton in a match stopped many times by injury and blood. But Jeton, the victor, getting the takedown, coming away with the 6-1 decision. Eric Jeton, number 3, with the upset over number 2 Dwight Hinson. Welcome back, University at Buffalo, NWCA All-Star College Meet. We've got 134-pounder, number 1 Mark Ironside, defending national champ from Iowa. He's taking on number 2 Jeremy Ensrud from Oregon.
Mark has a 50-0 win streak on the line here, and had beaten Ensrud earlier in the year at the Midlands.
Ensrud surprising the competition last year at the NCAAs, finishing 4th with a 22-8 record, which isn't so bad, but you know, he really surprised a lot of people. He's a very slick wrestler. This is his last shot as a senior. He is a senior, and he has a big job here in front of him tonight.
Ironside didn't waste any time getting in there for the 2 points.
Ironside, when he won his title, he was coached by Ken Gable, who has since retired from coaching, and now is coached by Jimmy Zaleski, the longtime assistant at the University of Iowa.
What?
Ensrud with the escape. It's now 2-1 in favor of Mark Ironside.
Ironside likes being on his feet and likes moving the man, and they say when you get done wrestling 7 minutes with Ironside, you feel about as tired as you ever have in your life. He just constantly is working on your head and your arms, pulling you down as he is right here, and making the man carry his weight and picking on the scores as you saw earlier in the match.
Nice slick move by Ensrud coming onto the side of Ironside, has the leg up, trying to finish. Ironside doing a good job of fighting him off, keeping his balance.
.125 to go here in the first period.
Ensrud really needs to move his opponent if he wants to score. You can't stand in one place with that. You're going to end up giving up the takedown instead of getting it, and that's what happened there. He didn't have enough motion, didn't create motion. Beautiful duck under by Ensrud, coming back in again, trying to surprise Ironside, but it doesn't work. Ironside fights him off.
Ironside's showing a great intensity, stopping those attacks and take advantage
1 minute,
of
fellas, 1 minute.
Ensrud's coming out of position with the score.
Ironside with the takedown. He now leads at 4-1. Ensrud turns back to face him. He'll get one. It's 4-2 now.
As time ticks away, there's less of a chance for Ensrud to win because, like Bruce said, Ironside's a 7-minute man and then some, and Ensrud won't be able to keep up with him in the later time in the match. So now's the time or never.
Ironside in on the leg.
Watch that knee. Watch that knee.
He's getting in on that leg so easy earlier, even early in the match.
Stop. That stays.
Referee called that
Actually
potentially
dangerous.
Talking to Ironside before the match started, he was telling me he had a very disappointing Midlands tournament. Though he did win, he went in overtime in the semis and beat Ensrud 7-5 in the finals. He wasn't happy with that, so I know he wants to prove tonight that he is a lot better wrestler than Ensrud thinks he is, and I know that's why he's here tonight wrestling, because he really doesn't have to be.
So the end of the first period, it is Mark Ironside leads this one by 4-2 score. Mark from Iowa, Jeremy Ensrud from Oregon.
Is down.
Ironside down. That's a great name for a wrestler, Ironside. Just a tough name.
Has that little mystique to it.
Yep.
You know, in the first period, Ironside didn't even make an attempt to ride Jeremy, and I thought he would have tried to ride him to get him a little bit tired.
What?
Escape by Mark Ironside.
One thing about these Iowa boys, they're not usually peaking at the beginning of the year, but you can guarantee when it comes NCAA tournament time, these guys are ready to go, and they prove that every year.
Again, Ironside pulling Ensrud underneath him, trying to make him carry the weight, getting him tired.
.106 to go here, second period. Ironside up by a 5-2 count. No riding time advantage yet come into play.
Ensrud seems to be very effective from the outside, and here he's kind of playing Ironside's game, getting tied up. Ironside being able to pull him down, work his head. You don't want to get in that position. He's going to lose there, so he really needs to create some distance and hit some of those outside duck unders and low singles that he likes to hit.
35 seconds.
So Ironside snapped him down, spun behind for the 2. Seems like he's a little bit more intent on holding him down this time. It really doesn't seem like Ensrud is making much of an effort to come up to his feet.
Keep it legal.
I think he's tired. It's closing down the second period.
Don't lift it.
You know, Ironside putting the pressure on him, I think he's starting to lose his intensity a little bit.
Ironside coming out front with the bar arm. Doesn't look like you'll have enough time to score.
At the end of the second period, so after 2, it's Mark Ironside 7 and Jeremy Ensrud 2.
Green down.
Fellas, what about, I mean, you both wrestled in this. It's a dual meet setup, but you're waiting all day to wrestle. As we take a look at this last move here by Ironside, and he's so intense. What about preparation for a match like this? It's not an all-day tournament where you've wrestled all day. You kind of pretty much have to focus on this one moment out here in the spotlight.
It's difficult. These athletes are flying in from all over the country. They may have a banquet last night. They come in here, make weight, and wrestle. There's not a whole lot of fan support from your school. Maybe you have a coach, maybe you don't here.
What?
It's a little bit difficult to really get up for it. The only thing that keeps these guys is the pride. Again, Ironside with another snap, go behind, coming out front with the bar.
Ensrud suffering big time with some bad shots in this match, giving up 3 spin behinds. That's going to hurt him. He's going to have to learn from this when he comes to the NCAA tournament, knowing that you can't shoot a bad shot on Ironside because you're going to suffer. And that's, you know, he has 6 of his 9 points are from that.
Ironside dominating now. He's up by 11-4 count, plus he's got the riding time to his advantage.
Still red.
Ironside just really has Ensrud a little flustered here, scoring almost at will.
Red.
Well, Ironside's not only won the physical part of this match, he's dominating him mentally now. Ensrud just gassed out.
He's just pushing him over. It's very rare do you see an athlete of this caliber, you know, ranked number 2 in the country, just getting pushed over like Ironside's doing to him.
Well, he may have already mentally decided I'm going to wait till next time because this is not my night.
Yeah, but there's a word called pride that you don't want to. You don't want to lose the respect of your wrestler, and I think he's starting to.
What?
So Ironside again with the snap. He didn't get around behind him, but he did come up with a single leg takedown.
2.
Another takedown. He's up by a 10-point margin.
Boy, this is a big mental edge for Ironside going into the NCAAs. Ensrud's going to remember this for a long time.
This will hard to be overcome at the NCAAs, just the mental advantage. And when Ensrud looks at the tape and sees the manner he lost.
So the defending national champ Mark Ironside from Iowa, he keeps his record perfect. Let's hear from Jeff Blatnick as he talks to our winner tonight.
Mike, you're a defending national champion. Do you expect to go out there and dominate your opponent like you did tonight every single time you step on the mat?
Yeah, that's the way I think, yeah, pretty much. You know, domination is the kind of the key word for me.
How important is it for you not just to beat your opponent, but dominate him?
You know, it's really important. You know, you go through the Iowa program, you work as hard as we do, you know, and you train as hard as I do in and out of season. And, you know, all the hours you put in. I mean, I know that everybody else is working hard, and Andrew's a good kid. I'm sure he works hard too, but as far as I'm concerned, there's no way that somebody should be close to me.
To take it to the next level, I see you just talking with Tom Brands immediately after your match. Tom Brands, gold medalist in Atlanta. Has he helped your style?
Oh yeah, you know, because I grew up probably only 25 miles from Iowa City where the Brands wrestle and stuff like that. You know, I grew up watching them. You know, they're always my idols, and they're the people. You know, I love their style and their intensity, and having them in the room, Tom and Terry. You know, it's just a huge motivation factor for me, and I'm lucky to have them because we kind of got the same styles, and they're able to help me out a lot.
Well, congratulations, Mike. Good luck.
Thank you.
Welcome back, University at Buffalo. We're at the 142-pound weight class of the NWCA All-Star Wrestling Meet. It's number 2 Stephen Schmidt of Oklahoma State taking on number 3 ranked Casey Cunningham of Central Michigan.
Stephen Schmidt having an outstanding year last year, placing second at the NCAA tournament, looking for his first NCAA title this year. It's going to be a tough one, but if anybody can do it, he can. Coming from Oklahoma State, such a great program, and some of these guys that with their work ethic, kind of like Iowa's, and having teammates like Teague Moore and Hardell Moore, you know, he's got a lot of advantage. And if they want to win the NCAA tournament this year, they're going to look for big things from this guy.
Cunningham comes from Central Michigan, which is not one of your traditional wrestling powers, but you know, he does have a number 3 ranking, and he's 19-0 in a year. Schmidt in on the first takedown. Cunningham back up to his feet.
2:07 to go here in the first period. Stephen Schmidt with a 2-0 advantage.
Both of these wrestlers like to scramble quite a bit. Right. I think you'll see a lot of action. Maybe not a lot of high scoring, but there's going to be a lot of motion and a lot of movement in this here match.
Well, by our records in front of us, neither young man has yet to lose.
That's right. I think they're both undefeated, and you know, there's a lot of pride on the line when you're undefeated going against another undefeated wrestler. In the sport as it is today, only one of these wrestlers will leave the match undefeated.
Yeah, I've been in this position before where I've wrestled in here undefeated and ended up losing. I did not like it. It wasn't a very good mental thing for me, so I've been on that side of the spectrum, and I didn't like it.
But these guys are just scrambling around, getting in a lot of very unorthodox positions and just constant motion. Excellent escape.
Casey Cunningham with the 1-point escape. It's a 2-1 count now in favor of Stephen Schmidt.
It did take Cunningham 56 seconds to get away, which is quite a long time, really.
There's that little roll throw that seems to be popular in the sport of wrestling today. Getting a lot of kids out of takedowns lately. It's come on pretty strong in the last couple of years.
This could wind up as a stalemate here. Both athletes in a position where it's very difficult to advance.
Let's go neutral.
And you called it. It's a stalemate. 34 seconds to go here. First period. Schmidt leads it by 2-1 score over Casey Cunningham, Central Michigan. Schmidt the senior, Cunningham the junior.
Seems like Schmidt has created all the action in this match so far with 3 or 4 leg attacks compared to Cunningham, 0.
Closing up the final seconds here of the first period. And it doesn't look like we have any more scoring, and it's going to end by a 2-1 count for Stephen Schmidt.
Excellent intensity on both wrestlers.
Hey, choice green.
And we got the flip of the coin.
Green chooses down, second period. Green down.
Casey Cunningham chooses down. Here's the takedown by Schmidt.
Schmidt hitting the double leg, trying to wrap the leg. Eventually he does get the leg, and that's what you want to do, is hook your leg onto his leg to finish that score, and he did.
A lot of work on both wrestlers' part here to get away and to hold the man down. Like I said, a lot of action, a lot of motion.
Schmidt showing a lot of poise on top. Good riding skills in this match, being able to get his 1 point riding time advantage and actually holding him down to try to wear him out a little bit.
1:35 here to go in the second period. Still a 2-1 score. Advantage Stephen Schmidt, senior from Oklahoma State. 18-0 on the year thus far.
It really does take a lot out of a competitor when you're trying to get to the feet to get the escape, as Cunningham just did with a nice escape. It does take a lot of energy to get up to your feet and away.
We're all knotted up at 2.
Schmidt seems to be on the offensive a lot more than Cunningham. I wonder if that is Cunningham's kind of game plan to be defensive.
Not much going on right now.
Crowd trying to get things going here.
When you have two great athletes like this together, it's very difficult to wind up with a very high-scoring match.
Casey Cunningham having an outstanding year. He didn't place the last 2 years at the NCAA tournament, coming into this match undefeated and having a surprising #3 ranking. He must have had some attitude change this year and some mental improvement to be able to come in here with that high of a ranking.
Schmidt with the takedown just seconds before the buzzer, so he'll go into the third period leading this one by a 4-2 count. Plus he's got the minute 34 advantage on riding time right now. And Cunningham will try to eat into that.
It's going to be a very difficult.
This is Schmidt just before the buzzer.
Schmidt in on the leg, and it winds up where Cunningham tries to dive through and gives up the score.
And here's where Cunningham's tough. We're going to find, Schmidt with a nice reversal. Cunningham trying to pull him back with the leg in and ends up backfiring on him. Schmidt getting another 2 points.
Well, Steve Schmidt in pretty good control right now. He's up by 6-2 count, and he's working on that riding time.
Schmidt has Cunningham's leg. Well, Schmidt just let the leg go, but he had it tied up there to really get some riding time advantage.
Let's go, guys, come on.
And official tonight, Brian Manzi.
Again, you expend an awful lot of energy on the bottom trying to get away or keep
that wing?
turn.
All right.
Well, when you're down on the bottom and you're down in the score, seems like there's a lot more pressure riding on your back.
Looks like Cunningham here is slowed down a little bit. He's a little bit frustrated, not being able to get out of the bar arm, getting ridden.
I've seen Schmidt do this a time or two last year, and
very close to near fall points here. Just can't control him enough for that second count.
.30 seconds to go here in the match. Stephen Schmidt, Oklahoma State. He's up by 6-2 count. He's got over 2 minutes 48 seconds here in riding time, and unless something happens very drastic here, he's going to win this one. And Casey Cunningham's going to lose his first match of the season for Central Michigan. So we're in the final countdown here, so we're going to have a winner at 142. And it's Stephen Schmidt of Oklahoma State. He runs his record up to 19-0 and at #2 ranking, and he's going to be a very happy young man as he talks to our own Jeff Blatnick.
Stephen, congratulations. That was very workmanlike. One step after the other, you put together a good victory.
Yeah, I feel good about it. I had a solid match. You know, I made a few mistakes that I'd like to look back on already remember, but I kept at it, and hopefully he feels he got tired and he can't stay with me if we meet again.
What does this say about your style right now in your preparation for the Nationals?
I'm a little bit tired from a week of hard working out, but I feel I'm in good shape, and I'm prepared. I just got to push through to the end and finish up my season tough.
What do you need to do to be successful at the Nationals between now and then? What part of your wrestling style needs to improve?
I just need to relax and focus, not get nervous about anything, and feel confident and go get them.
We're back here at the University at Buffalo, and at 142 pounds, there was an exhibition match featuring the number 9th ranked wrestler in the nation at the weight class, Tom Tomeo of Clarion, taking on University at Buffalo's own Jeremy McVeigh. And it was McVeigh hoping to avenge an earlier defeat this season to Tomeo, but Tom Tomeo too tough in this one. He walks away with 11-1 decision over McVeigh in the exhibition bout. It was Jeff Blatnick talking to Tomeo and McVeigh after the match.
Tom, congratulations on your match. What kind of opportunity was this for you?
This is an excellent opportunity to be here with some of the best guys in the nation, mingle in between them, and the Buffalo put on a great, spectacular show. They really helped us, everything we needed. They really set up for us here. It was a great opportunity.
Tell us your thoughts about the match. How would you evaluate it?
I felt I wrestled pretty good. I felt good out there. I felt conditioned. I've been training pretty hard this year. I got one more year left, and so I figured I might as well make the best of it.
How important was this match for your preparation for Nationals?
Very much so, because this is the kind of competition that we're going to find at Nationals. And just to be out there and to go out and test your talents against the best guys in the nation, and to see how you end up. And I think it's going to be a big determining factor in helping me at Nationals.
Well, you did well here. Best of luck at Nationals.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Jerry, what kind of an opportunity was it for you today to wrestle in an exhibition here at the All-Star Classic?
It was a pretty good opportunity having this big home crowd we had. It was very nice. I mean, I think that they had put on a great show for this NCAA All-Star meet. I mean, I thought it was a good opportunity.
What did you think of your performance tonight? I
was disappointed with it. I mean, I wasn't feeling up to par, so I mean, I really can't be too disappointed in myself, but I did what I could, He really came after me. He wrestled a very good match. I wrestled him before, and it was a lot closer than that, so he really took it to me today.
Your coach, Coach Buechner, the Buffalo program, how will it benefit from the All-Star Classic coming here, and what are the plans for the program here at Buffalo?
I think it's great that we got some exposure, as all these Midwest teams coming over here and the powerhouses, and seeing what kind of facilities we got, and our program's up and coming, and they're starting to realize Buffalo's going to break the top 25 here pretty soon, I think. So I think it's a very good opportunity to have this here.
We're back here at the University at Buffalo. Bob Koshinski, Bruce Baumgartner, and Kurt Engle. It is the 1998 NWCA All-Star Wrestling Meet. And right now we're at the 150-pound weight class. Number 2 ranked Eric Siebert of Illinois. He's taking on number 4 ranked Mike Mason of West Virginia.
Eric Siebert, you can't say enough about this kid, placing 5th last year at the NCAA tournament, being ranked 2nd all year long. Never losing that ranking, staying ranked 2nd all season. That's consistency. His coach, former Iowa assistant coach, Mark Johnson, great reputation, now the head coach of Illinois. And I know the way he's been going with this program, we're going to see a lot of good come out of this kid.
Mike Mason's from West Virginia, and West Virginia is not one of your better-known wrestling states. And if you look at his freshman year, he was 4-2. Now as a senior, he's ranked 4th, 27 and 3, and right now in on the attack against the number 2 ranked guy in the country. Mike has definitely grown in that West Virginia program and has really come a long way.
Boy, he was close on that one. 1 foot came out of bounds when he finished the takedown. I agree with the officials' call. It wasn't a takedown, but boy, I'll tell you, these fans wanted to see too.
Unbelievable athletic ability on both athletes there.
Well, you get to that 150-pound weight class, you really have that athlete who's the tweener between the lightweights and the heavyweights, and many times you get some of your finest athletes right here at this weight class.
Well, these wrestlers are moving like the 118-pound weight class.
Not that heavyweights aren't great athletes, Bruce, don't get me wrong.
Oh, I think you'll see some fine wrestlers tonight, the 190 heavyweight class.
Stalemate.
The official calling a stalemate there, figuring that no action would continue.
151 to go here, no score. First period, 150-pound weight class. Eric Siebert from Illinois, he's ranked number 2. He's taking on Mike Mason of West Virginia, 4th-ranked wrestler in these United States. Right on the edge of the mat, and we'll start him over, 121 to go.
Both wrestlers having great position, not giving up anything. You know, this match was bound to be close anyway, and I could see this match being a one-pointer also.
Mike Mason's coached, assistant coached by Nate Carr, who was a fellow Olympian in 1988, winning the silver medal, or pardon me, the bronze medal.
One minute to go here in the period. Still no score.
Good.
As I look over these bios, a lot of these young men competing in the prestigious Las Vegas Open, which I'm sure is a great tournament for fans and coaches.
Got a warning red.
Got a warning red here. Las
Red,
Vegas,
warn.
not a bad town to visit.
No, we've actually had a lot of our U.S. Open tournaments for freestyle and sometimes Greco-Roman out there, and I'll tell you, it's a great town to have an event like that. These guys are fortunate to be able to have something out there, but as you were talking earlier about Nate Carr, what a tremendous job they're doing this year, placing 6th at the team tournament nationals and upsetting Penn State last week. West Virginia just coming on strong, and this whole EWL, Eastern Wrestling League, just doing a tremendous job this year.
Just 15 seconds to go here.
Very hard fought first period. A lot of jockeying for position, a lot of hand fighting out there. Really only two good attacks. One right at the beginning by Mason, and one a little bit later on by Siebert.
So no
Green
score
choice.
after the first period.
Green, defers, red, down.
And this is the closest thing we had to points here.
Yeah, almost had him. You could see Mason's foot came out of bounds, and had his left foot stay in bounds, that would have been a takedown. The West Virginia athletes are usually pretty good on top. It surprises me that Mason let him go so easy, or actually I shouldn't say let him go, because Siebert had an excellent technique to get away. Very good attempt by Mike Mason. This position right here where Siebert has his body on top of Mike Mason's head is very tiring for the athlete underneath.
Not bad movement by these guys, spinning around, hitting shots, and coming up with nothing. They're working hard for not many points tonight.
1:22 to go here, second period. Eric Siebert, Illinois, he's up by a slim 1-0 margin at this point. Nobody wants to be the first one to make a mistake here.
Well, this match may come down to one mistake.
Come on, guys, pick it up.
This could be a classic overtime match right here. Mason doing very well scrambling to get out of bounds.
Neutral.
No takedown. If Siebert would have had both ankles in that situation, he would have had a 2-point takedown.
we're seeing some really good counter wrestling in this match. Just one wrestler taking a shot, the other one reshooting or hitting some kind of counter move, and that's great offense to have, and you're going to score a lot of points if you can do that.
Mason being very aggressive here in the second period with that underhook. A couple good attempts.
Watch the shot here, watch the shot. Keep your knees bent. He's coming. That's it. He's nothing for you. Good.
17 seconds.
17, fellas.
Just 1 point has been scored thus far by Siebert, picking up an escape at the beginning of the second period. And that's going to do it at the end of 2 periods. It's still Eric Siebert leading this one by a 1-0 count. Let's take a look at the 1 point that was scored.
Excellent escape by Siebert. Mason is very strong on top, and Siebert got right away.
Well, we're all tied up now.
Mason able to score his 1 point escape in the same amount of time Siebert was, so there is 0 seconds riding time for either opponent.
When you can get away in 5 seconds, that's an excellent technique on the bottom, especially when a top man, Siebert, was trying to hold you down.
Let's go, guys. Come on.
Siebert looking for 2. He's got it.
Mason shooting that shot, and like I said before, the counter wrestling coming into effect. Siebert being able to spin around and drop down the legs and score. That's good offense, and sometimes your best offense is a good defense, and Siebert showed it right there.
So Mike Mason of West Virginia now down, both on the mat and by 4-2 count to Eric Siebert. Mason picks up the 1 point escape.
See, Mason made another mistake right there, took a bad shot, and Siebert came up with his leg. Mason really didn't need to take that shot. He could have waited and set something up a little bit better. I think he rushed that, and it may cost him here, if nothing else, just time on the clock. Mason holding on for that stalemate.
48 seconds to go here in the match, and this one's going to go right down to the wire. Eric Siebert up by a 3-2 count. And Mike Mason is a number 4th ranked wrestler. He could move up in the rankings with a win here tonight. So,
oh, most definitely, and he almost did with that move there. Great defense by Siebert, being able to come off his hip and square off on Mason. But like I said before, I was expecting a 1 point match, and it looks like apparently, unless Mason can do something here, we're going to end up with a 1 pointer.
Siebert in very quickly on that leg. 25 seconds to go.
Mason doesn't have a whole lot of time here. Well, the referee blew a quick stalemate.
Go, come on.
Brian Mancini, the referee here, making sure that he gets these kids back at it. 18 seconds to go. Now he's going to start.
Got a caution green.
Mason jumped the gun just by a hair.
Hey, sometimes that's a smart move. I think Mason, you have one chance to try it and not get penalized, and Mason took his one chance. It almost worked.
7 seconds to go. If Mason's got to move, it's got to go right now. Now, you guys are right. A 1 point decision. Eric Siebert of Illinois outlasts Mike Mason of West Virginia by a 3-2 count. Congratulations to Mr. Siebert, and let's turn it over now to our man with the interview, Jeff Blatnick. Jeff?
Eric, that was a real hard-fought victory. You seemed to get in on your shots, but had trouble finishing.
Definitely. I thought the whole match he slowed me down really good, and really well, I should say. But he's always been a tough competitor for me. We've wrestled in the past, and every time it goes down to the wire. So this really doesn't surprise me that it was that close.
What does this do for your confidence in your training preparing for the NCAAs?
Well, it's always good to win the close ones. You know, there's so many good wrestlers here, and maybe they're not used to quite, all the close matches, and it feels good to, etch one out, even if you don't wrestle your best or, you know, to win a close match is important come national time.
What's the most important thing you can do between now and nationals to improve your style?
I think I really had to work on my setups. I seemed to a couple times to shoot from, you know, open positions or when I didn't really set it up. And, you know, as you know, you learn that at the elementary level, and I just really failed to execute that today.
Well, we want to wish you the best of luck. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And we're back here at the University at Buffalo. Bob Koshinski with Bruce Baumgartner, Kurt Engle, and Jeff Blatnick. It is the 1998 NWCA All-Star Wrestling meet. We're at the 158-pound weight class. This is a big one. Number 2 ranked Ardell Moore of Oklahoma State takes on number 3 ranked Byron Tucker of Oklahoma. Guys, rivalry.
Big time rivalry. You talk about two guys that have wrestled each other numerous amounts of time and have beaten each other, but Ardell Moore getting the best of Tucker this year, beating him twice by 1 point. Ardell Moore having a great year this season, having disappointing years in the past, being ranked at the NCAA tournament every year, and last year finally finishing in the top 8 with a 4th place finish.
Well, Byron Tucker's out of Virginia, again not a wrestling powerhouse, but he is at Oklahoma now and doing very well. He ranked 3rd in the country. Lost his last 2 outings against Ardell, lost by 1 point each time. So I think we're going to see a hard-fought match. I believe you're going to see a lot of action here.
2:30 to go here, first period.
Ardell Moore, coached by John Smith, and Byron Tucker is coached by Jack Spates, who coached many years here at Cornell University right here in New York.
One thing I could say about these two guys, they've met each other so many times the past couple of seasons. It's hard to say who's going to win, and like I said, I guarantee they're pretty close to even as far as beating each other. So, you know, even though Ardell Moore has won twice, maybe it's time for Tucker to get him back. So you never know what's going to happen and who's at an advantage tonight.
Moore gets in on the leg, 1:35 to go.
Byron Tucker in some danger here. He's fighting it very well. Moore trying to move around to get the advantage with that leg. Again, a position we've seen in a lot of other matches here this evening. Tucker is doing an outstanding job of keeping Moore from getting the score.
Yeah, you talk about tremendous balance. Tucker's able to fight this off, but you know, Ardell Moore needs to move him around a little bit more, like I was saying before in the previous matches. And when you get a leg up, you have a big advantage, and you can't let go of that advantage, and you have to keep moving. He suffered right there by letting Tucker get his balance and not moving, and he gave up the takedown.
39 seconds to go here, first period, still no score. Ardell Moore of Oklahoma State taking on Byron Tucker, Oklahoma.
Moore definitely let 2 points get away on that one.
35.
I don't think you'll see a high-scoring match, but there is a lot of action out there, a lot of attempts, a lot of hand fighting.
20 seconds.
One thing, these two guys are such tremendous athletes. They'll make mistakes, but they'll be able to regroup and not give up the points. So you're seeing a couple of tremendous athletes out here going at it, and when it comes down to it, it's going to be who makes more mistakes. That'll be the one that loses.
Well, that's the end of the first period. We've got no score.
The Big 12 has the
Red
top
defers, green.
Yeah, this is about as close as we got to a takedown here, guys.
Here's a near takedown by Moore. He comes in shooting a double leg, coming up with the single, but like I said before, just hanging on, not moving his opponent, and not being able to score the takedown.
Ardell Moore from Oklahoma State will be on the bottom. Byron Tucker, Oklahoma, on top. Second period just underway.
these wrestlers see each other, probably have competed against each other 3 or 4 times a year the last couple of years, and they're probably quite familiar with each other's style.
Hey, they live right down the road from each other, being in Oklahoma, and also both of them competing in the Big 12. So, you know, that's such a tough league, and them going at it at the dual meet, the All-Star match, the Big 12 tournament, then the NCAA tournament, you just, it's like he sees this guy every 4th match.
Cardell Moore with the 1-point escape, and he leads it by 1-0 count, 1:12 to go here in the 2nd period.
The number 1 ranked athlete at the weight, Timur Turi, is also in the Big 12. That's
guys, open up.
Definite tough conference there.
I guess we're really watching who will be 2nd seeded. The winner of this could possibly come up with a 2nd seed at the Big 12 tournament, but it really doesn't matter because the 2nd and 3rd will meet in the semifinals, and Terry will be on the other side, kind of coasting, not coasting into the finals, but not having to face these 2 individuals.
What would some of the reasons be for the number 1 ranked wrestler not being here this evening?
Possibly injury. If they've already wrestled their opponent, there's no advantage of wrestling. They're just going to give up the seed at nationals, possibly. Like if Timur Turi had beaten both of these individuals already this year and has a lock on that number 1 seed, there's no real advantage for Timur Turi to compete. I think it probably has a little bit more to do with injury or scheduling. Now, this is the Pride, one of the better matches, and really out there for the pride and the prestige of it.
Here Moore comes up to his feet, has hand control, picture perfect, able to escape. Took him just a few seconds to do that.
As we start the 3rd period, Tucker on the bottom, Moore riding on top. Moore with a slim 1-0 advantage.
Moore erasing Tucker's riding time advantage that he had.
That ties it up.
Nice little throw by Tucker to try to score near the out of bounds, and as both wrestlers go out of bounds.
You know, when you wrestle a person as many times as these 2 have, you really become hesitant to hit your best shots and take your best holds, because your opponent kind of knows what you're doing, and there's a feeling of, well, he's waiting for me to do that and will try to capitalize. So I think you see a little bit more, we have a lot of action in here, but you're not seeing a lot of scoring because both people know what the other athlete's trying to do.
Get injury time, green.
And we're going to have injury time.
Okay. Stop it.
Said he's fine.
Let's go. Come on, open up.
49 seconds to go in the match.
There's Cardell Moore with that long double shot again where he almost scored before. Trying it again, that seems to be his favorite shot, and Tucker knows it's coming.
Tucker likes this underhook position that he's in. Tries to go in for a single leg takedown.
Well, we may have our first overtime match of the night here. Just 26 seconds to go. Tied at 1.
I am not surprised. This was bound to happen, especially at a match like this. We're talking about the best in the nation going at it, and only have 1 overtime match right now. That's pretty good.
Open up.
Just 10 seconds. And we're going to have OT, folks. Okay, Bruce, explain overtime to us very quickly.
Well, right here, it's the first person that scores, and whether that be a stalling point or a takedown, the first person that scores will win the match. There's 2 minutes for them to score, and you'll usually see a pretty hard-fought 2 minutes. You don't want to wait till the
toss of the coin to have one wrestler put in the bottom of the top position. It's my opinion that the person that wins the coin toss and takes the bottom position is at an advantage.
1:30 to go here in overtime. First person to score will win this match. Hardell Moore, Oklahoma State, ranked second in the country, taking on Byron Tucker of Oklahoma. He's ranked number 3.
The warning, red.
Now we got a warning on Tucker.
Let's go, guys.
Tucker gets warned one more time, and he'll give up the point and the match.
That's what happened there, guys. Come on.
That's correct.
Oklahoma, you been won.
It looks like Tucker has taken a little bit more of a back seat here in the overtime. And it hasn't been quite as aggressive as in the regulation. A little bit more action by Moore.
57 seconds to go in overtime. Nothing yet, and there's a 2-point takedown for Hardell Moore of Oklahoma State. He wins it in overtime. He's the victor. It's Oklahoma State betters Oklahoma. Let's take a look at that takedown, Kurt. Hardell Moore, the winner. Let's take a look at those 2 points that won the match.
Tucker going in for the score, and Hardell Moore hitting the quick spin for the takedown. You know, that was a mistake by Tucker, but Moore was able to capitalize.
And Jeff Blatnick has the winner. Let's take a listen.
Hardell, a very tough fought overtime victory. Did you plan it to go that way?
No, I planned to go out there and wrestle my match. I kind of got into his pace of match, not moving my feet, not moving my hands. Of course, not everybody plans to go overtime. I didn't plan to go overtime. I wanted to go regulation, but it went overtime, and I'm glad I pulled out the victory.
Well, in the NCAAs, there are a lot of close matches, and keeping your cool is a very important aspect of winning there. How important was this match in preparation for the Nationals?
This match was a good preparation match for the Nationals, especially the Nationals. You know, you got a nice crowd here. Everyone's cheering. You know, you're hearing stuff. It's good to keep your composure, keep cool, stay relaxed, just go out there and wrestle your match.
Well, we want to wish you the best of luck. Congratulations.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.
We're back here at the University of Buffalo. Let's take a look at some of the action at the 167-pound weight class. It was number 3 ranked Jeff Catrabone of Michigan taking on number 4 Brandon Slay of Pennsylvania. This a very tough physical bout, but in the end it was Slay of Pennsylvania walking away with the 3-1 decision over Catrabone, an upset win for the number 4 ranked wrestler over number 3. And we're back here at University at Buffalo. We're at the 177-pound weight class of the NWCA All-Star Wrestling Meet. And we have number 1 ranked Mitch Clark of Ohio State. He's undefeated, 26-0. He'll take on the number 3rd ranked wrestler in the nation at 177, John Van Doren of Lehigh.
Mitch Clark took second last year in the NCAAs. Somewhat of a dark horse. He had 5 losses going into the tournament. Very scrappy. Wrestler, a lot of, you'll see a lot of action from him, a lot of unorthodox wrestling.
And he gets a 2-point takedown. Go ahead, Kurt.
Sorry about that. John Van Doren having an excellent season. We're talking about a kid that was 12 and 15. 12 and 15 his freshman year, was able to turn it around, get a 30-9 record and a 3rd place finish at the NCAAs last year. He's really turned it on. Looking for a title this year. He's coached by assistant Olympic coach Greg Strobel.
Set, red.
And Van Doren found himself down quickly, 2-0, but he got the reversal. We're all tied at 2.
Mitch Clark is a slightly unorthodox wrestler, a little bit better on the mat, holding the guy down, riding and turning. He's coached by Russ Hellickson, who was an Olympic medalist in 1976.
$2:19 to go here. They went out of bounds. We'll start him back over in the middle.
$2:19 to go. That's it. Keep pressure on it. That's it.
Mitch Clark very tough with the legs, almost like he's
trying to hang out a little bit, letting Van Doren have the leg, and
Stalemate.
not really
Right
showing
up.
that he's in much trouble. So he seemed to be pretty relaxed in that position.
2 minutes.
Bump his arms forward before you stick your leg in. When his arms get forward, that's it. Keep it on him. That's it.
Van Doren doing an
Keep that
excellent
pressure,
job
keep that pressure on it.
keeping the legs out, where Mitch Clark is very strong on top with
Go,
the
you got
legs.
to move underneath. That's it. Now straighten it out. Straighten him out. Get it out. There you go.
1:40 to go here, still in the first period. We're still tied at 2.
Don't let it crawl up. Don't let it crawl
I have a
up.
feeling, a distinct feeling that Mitch Clark's going to be able to ride up some,
Nothing there, guys.
really work up some riding time in the next few periods. So I think Van Doren's going to really have to score on his feet or do something spectacular to stay away from Mitch Clark's strength on top.
Always bump it before you put your leg in.
The longer that Mitch Clark stays on the
Got a caution by
top
the man. Green.
will wear Van Doren physically and mentally if it goes on much longer. A minute riding time in the first period. The match is really, it's a minute and a half into it. There's already a minute riding time for Mitch Clark.
Drive forward. Drive up some there. Drive forward, lad. Don't sit down. Drive forward. Move it. There you go. Move it.
And they go out of bounds. We're still tied at 2. 1:11 to go here, first period.
Both wrestlers very comfortable on wrestling close to the edge and using that for their advantage when their opponent gets an advantage on top, using the edge to escape.
Dead tough on him. Go, he's got to move, man.
About a minute, guys.
Underneath. Got to move. Keep that pressure
55
on it.
seconds.
Straighten it out now. Straighten it out. Don't make.
Clark throwing in that leg.
This could be a very long match for John Van Doren. Of course, there's going to be a moment if Van Doren chooses bottom, which I doubt he will in the next couple periods. You could see Mitch Clark really accumulate a lot of riding time. So don't expect Van Doren to pick any bottom position the next 2 periods.
Mitch Clark is very punishing on top.
Straighten it out. Flatten him out, Mitch.
Go, guys. You're riding.
He just got warned for stalling, just riding on top.
That's a case where Van Doren almost wish he hadn't called him. This is a very punishing position, the arch in the back right there with the leg and trying to take the head over for the near fall.
Again, Van Doren looked up like, why did you go and do that? Because Clark immediately applied the pressure. So we're done with the scoring at the end of the first period. We're tied at 2, but Mitch Clark with a dominant riding time situation. He's got 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Let's take a look at the reversal.
Van Doren with a nice picture-perfect takedown, and actually Mitch Clark coming underneath, not able to score. Van Doren getting the takedown, and here we're going to possibly see the reversal.
Yeah, that was actually the takedown right to start the match. And right here.
And here's the reversal. Mitch Clark being able to grab the ankle,
Yeah,
get height, come up on top, turn and finish the takedown, or actually the reversal to score 2 points and ride him out the rest of the period.
Red choice. Red defers.
A lot of body
Green.
control in that reversal.
Green chooses neutral.
As Kurt predicted, Van Doren picked neutral,
Red, you've been
not
for
the bottom
stalling, right?
position.
Van Doren knows this is his only chance to start scoring on his feet and beware of being on bottom. So if Mitch Clark does get a takedown, Van Doren knows he's in trouble. This is where he has to really be intense.
Mitch Clark, again, somewhat unorthodox even on his feet. You notice his weight's on his heels. Most wrestlers try to keep the weight on their toes.
Nice single leg, changed to a double by Van Doren, and he gets 2 points for the takedown. This is very, very important for Van Doren to stay on top and not get reversed this time. And he lets him go. What do you say? I do it too.
Well, Van Dorn with the 4-3 lead, though. Mitch Clark has over 2 minutes in riding time right now.
Well, John Van Dorn was very smart in letting him go in the first period. Mitch Clark reversed, got on top, and got 2 minutes and 30 seconds for hiding time. And I'm sure John Van Dorn didn't want to be down again.
Nice ankle pick. He's going to bring the leg up. Beautiful finish by Van Dorn. Looking for a score. Mitch Clark doing an excellent job of throwing in the whizzer and fighting out the takedown. The fans give him a little cheer. As you said before, Bruce, Mitch Clark not being really slick on his feet, seems to be sitting back on his heels and doesn't have a lot of movement. So I'm sure that this is his weakness. He seems to be a really good mat wrestler on top and on bottom, obviously getting the reversal and riding him out.
Mitch Clark is a New Yorker from Canton, New York, Canton High School.
He pulled a Houdini getting out of that takedown, coming off the bottom. 11 seconds to go here, second period.
Like I said, Mitch Clark is very unorthodox, and as Kurt said, very good on the top and the bottom.
Okay, so now we head into the third period. Let's take a look at the almost takedown by John Van Dorn.
Here it is. John's on a single leg, kicks through, and Mitch Clark just scrambles around, keeps turning, and eventually comes out even with the whizzer.
You know, in those kind of situations, you have to really, when you finish, you have to finish hard. And Van Dorn relaxed. Mitch Clark was able to do something from there. And Mitch is a scrambler on bottom. So once he hits the floor, he's coming up or he's spinning around, and that's what he did. There it is again. That's his move.
Both athletes look a little tired here. A little bit worn in the face, not really getting right back to the center. Van Dorn seems to be dragging a little bit.
Well, we're tied at 4, but as I said, Mitch Clark with that over 2 minutes in riding time right now, which would be worth 1 point to him. So it's incumbent upon Van Dorn to come up with a takedown. Van Dorn has looked the better of the two on his feet.
Van Dorn definitely being dominant on his feet tonight. Mitch Clark, not a lot of quickness. I don't think Mitch really relies on his expertise on his feet. He's definitely a mat wrestler, and he's proving that tonight. But Van Dorn, he needs another takedown here if he wants to win this match. He's not going to get anything other than a takedown to score the win.
Clark seems to be generating the action here in the third period. Van Dorn looks to be somewhat tiring.
Van Dorn doing a great job of getting height, fighting off the takedown. Beautiful job for John Van Dorn. Coming out of bounds, no points. He still has a shot without giving up the bottom position again.
49 seconds to go here. It's tied at 4. Van Dorn needs to score because he's down in riding time right now as we have an injury time.
This is second injury time?
Excellent fight on Van Dorn.
Here Mitch Clark getting an underhook, shooting in on the single leg. Van Dorn almost reaching around, grabbing the ankle, trying to get a reversal. Mitch Clark coming up, also trying to get getting height on his opponent, but Van Dorn being able to fight him off, holding the ankle, and they both end up going out of bounds here. And no points were awarded.
Very close to a takedown. I think had that been in bounds, Clark probably would have come up on top.
Nice high crotch by Clark. He's a little bit low, out of position. Van Dorn trying to score. Clark doing an excellent job of turning in, and Van Dorn having great defense comes out of it. Oh, nice shot by Van Dorn to try to get something going. Another reshot, head up in the middle. He's got him in trouble here. If he can finish, he could win.
Excellent action
Van Dorn
here.
trying to hook the leg of Mitch Clark, and he might get it here.
Very close to being a takedown here, 15 seconds.
Five seconds, no call yet.
Very difficult to give the point here with Van Dorn and Mitch Clark both parallel.
So Mitch Clark will win it off that 2 minutes and 7 seconds riding time that he accumulated in the first period. Mitch Clark from Ohio State maintains his undefeated record and his #1 ranking, knocking off John Van Dorn.
Mitch, that was an incredibly tough match. You were hanging on to save the victory.
Actually, I thought I was the aggressor at the last minute. Although I was in the lead, I thought for 90% of the third period I was the aggressor. I just got out to a bad start, got a little sloppy.
How would you evaluate your overall performance?
Sloppy, but I got the job done when it was in the right positions, and when I had to do it, I got the job done.
We're back here at the University at Buffalo, 190-pound weight class. #1 ranked Jason Robinson of Edinburgh, taking on #4 ranked Ryan Tobin of Nebraska.
Jason Robinson, outstanding wrestler, has helped me over the years train for my Olympic and world competition. Very aggressive, very strong athlete. Ranked #1 last year, was injured in the semis and finished 6th. Beat Tobin their last time out 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, pardon me, at the NCAA title. Robinson wound up with 7th, and Tobin was 8th.
Ryan Tobin coming from Nebraska, having an excellent year last year, redshirting, but he did travel around with the Olympic team and did a lot of training that year. The year before, he took 3rd at the NCAA tournament. 21-2 this year, wrestling heavyweight half the year and dropping down to 190. You can look for this guy possibly to be in the NCAA finals. You might be seeing the NCAA final match right now.
Stalemate. All right.
Well, we got a stalemate to start him over. 2:20 to go here, first period, 190-pound weight class.
I've trained with both of these guys, and they're both very good on their feet, aggressive, hard workers, very good work ethic. Watching these two guys go year in, year out, coming to the Olympic training camps, training twice a day in the summertime, you can't ask for more from an athlete.
2-point takedown.
Robinson gets a nice single leg takedown. Tobin tried to dive through the legs, and Robinson basically just moved the leg, which made Tobin kind of just fall to his side.
1:39 to go here.
Facing me, facing me.
Jason Robinson, Edinburgh, #1 ranked in the nation.
Both wrestlers are 5th-year seniors. The last time, this is their last shot. Jason Robinson being ranked 1st, and of course Ryan Tobin 4th ranked. These two guys want it more than anybody else in this weight class. We'll see what can happen this year.
Robinson beat the defending national champion at Midlands by a point, who was Lee Fullhart. Good intensity with both wrestlers. Jason Robinson trying to hold him down, and obviously Tobin trying to get the escape.
1:09 to go here, first period. Robinson with a 2-0 advantage over Tobin.
Riding time could turn out to be a factor in this match, and Jason Robinson working hard to get him to his side to be able to get that turn.
1-point escape.
Nice little spin-in by Ryan Tobin to score. He comes up to his feet and they go out of bounds. Makes the score 2-1.
Bruce, you said Jason has worked out with you?
Yes, numerous times.
Yep.
Nice takedown for Jason Robinson. Yeah, I've coached him the last 4 years. I've taken the acting athletic director's job and haven't really done much coaching this year, but I used to work out with him almost daily for the last 4 years.
Nope. Caution red, bottom man, caution.
Not only an excellent wrestler, he's an elementary education major, very good student, a very hard worker.
And Jason, I'm sure you can agree with me, Bruce. He seems to be a very well-rounded wrestler. Strong on top, strong on bottom. Also, as you've seen, strong on his feet. And it's amazing. This kid has 36 pins throughout his career, so he proves that he is a pinner, not only just a wrestler, but a pinner too.
I think that's what wins at the NCAA tournament is the well-rounded wrestlers. I think, although Mitch Clark was in the finals, you could see on the feet he is vulnerable.
Go.
Where the wrestlers that are good in all three positions seem to be a little bit more successful, I believe.
Well, we're coming to the close of the first period. And it's Jason Robinson of Edinburgh with the 4-1 advantage over Ryan Tobin of Nebraska.
Here Jason Robinson goes in on an outside single leg. It seems to be one of his better moves. Comes up right away. Tobin trying to come underneath, and Robinson just squashing down on him, getting the score.
Now, you've been quick to point out, Bruce, his name is Robinson, not Robison, which I think we've both gone back and forth.
Wait a minute. I've known him longer than Bruce has, okay? He's from my area. I can call him whatever I want to.
Guys, if you want to have a wrestle-off for it, that's fine with me.
No, thanks.
Jason is a Pittsburgh native, actually Allison Park native. And as Kurt did mention, and, Kurt is also from Pittsburgh. He's having a little bit of a trouble getting away here.
Tobin looks to be very experienced with the legs, keeping good pressure on Robinson and not letting him able to move on the bottom.
Tobin just warned for stalling on top.
Well, a guy like Jason Robinson, you're not going to be able to break him down flat on the mat, so you have to do something in that position, and basically they're not doing anything right now. He's not able to break him down.
Tobin has the leg in and hooking that back ankle. Really not creating a whole lot of action, basically riding out the period here.
Tobin put a lot of pressure on, but Robinson sitting tight underneath with 45 seconds to go here in the period.
Again, this is very difficult for the bottom wrestler. It's
what's the matter?
A lot of
injury time,
pain,
green.
and it's difficult. Wears a man down that bottom position.
They've already called Tobin for stalling, but it appeared the officials started to drop a little bit lower and possibly calling Robinson for stalling. But having the injury timeout, I think Robinson's going to have a second chance to try to escape in this second period.
Okay, here we go.
36 seconds to go here, second period. Jason Robinson of Edinburgh leading Ryan Tobin, Nebraska by 4-1 count.
Tobin doing an excellent job on top, erasing the riding time. Actually,
no, bottom man. Caution green.
Caution, Robinson.
Tobin throwing that leg in again, keeping the pressure on Robinson, trying to get some riding time, possibly trying to break Robinson down and try and turn him.
Got a warning, bottom man, green.
And now we got a warning on Robinson. Both men have been warned.
Both men have warned. That may be a factor in the final period.
And we'll now head into the final period of the 190-pound match. The score remains Jason Robinson 4, Ryan Tobin 1. And now Robinson will have a chance to ride on top.
Tobin not being a very explosive wrestler, pretty much looking to turn into his opponent rather than coming up. And he doesn't do a bad job at it, but sometimes you want to come up and explode and get out as soon as possible, and he spends a little bit too much time on the mat.
Jason Robinson working to break him down to the near side. Looks like
nice little Granby roll attempt by Tobin. Not able to come out on top. He's getting the ankle of Robinson, I should say. And apparently they're in a stalemate.
Stalemate.
Well, we've got 1:15 remaining here in the match. Tobin will have to score off the bottom to get back in this one. Talked to a gentleman last night at the banquet, said he was impressed with how many fine students are on this roster of All-Stars when they had a chance to get up and talk about their majors, what they want to do. And you often find many of these fine athletes also are great students as well.
Well, I think that successful people are probably, if you're this successful in your wrestling, you might have a the success also in the classroom, that work ethic, that determination and drive.
And a stalling call against Robinson makes the score 4-2. If Tobin can get out here, he's only down by 1 point. So big factor in a match, like Bruce said. When you have stall warnings, you got to be very careful. And Robinson, hanging out on top, got dinged.
Let's go, guys. Come on.
Just 27 seconds to go.
Uh-oh. Robinson has the cradle locked up. It's not in a very good position to score, but nevertheless, he is working for that near fall.
Let's use it. Come on.
Advantage time now for Robinson.
And he can just sit there with that as we count out the final seconds. It's going to be Jason Robinson of Edinburgh. Maintains his #1 ranking, his undefeated record, knocking off Ryan Tobin of Nebraska.
Excellent hard-fought match by both competitors.
3,253. The NWCA, American Airlines, and the University of Buffalo, thank you for supporting.
And for more, let's throw it now to Jeff Blatnick.
Jason, how big a match was this for you in preparation for the Nationals?
Big match, you know, because most of the year I don't wrestle a lot of tough competitors like that, so this kind of shows me where I'm at, you know, this far in the year, and I know where I'm at now, and just got to keep doing the things that I've been doing and pushing hard every day.
I know you had high expectations at the NCAAs last year. What's the difference between Jason Robinson this year in his preparation versus last?
Well, last year, you know, I didn't have anyone shoot on me all year. And when someone did and got an early takedown, I was usually in my head, you know, scatterbrained. So this year I'm a little more focused. You know, if I get taken down, match is close in the third period, I know I'm still in it. I got a lot of tools in my pack and I can come back. So definitely being more focused and being aware that if I get down early or if it's a close match, I'm still in it. So those things right there makes me a different wrestler than I was last year.
Very good. Congratulations.
And we're back for the final match of the night here, the heavyweight division of the NWCA All-Star Wrestling League. #1 ranked Stephen Neal of Cal Bakersfield going against #2 ranked Aaron Richardson of Michigan. This could be a good one, guys.
I think this is going to be a great match. Both of these athletes are great competitors. Stephen Neal won the last match 5-3. It's interesting to note both of these people work my heavyweight wrestling camp, and they're both outstanding individuals. Just two great student athletes. Nice people, hard workers.
You talked about great athletes at 150 pounds. Well, these guys are tremendous athletes, and they're at heavyweight. Both guys can move really well. Aaron Richardson taking 5th place in 1995-96 season. Wasn't able to place last year, but this year having a tremendous season, even beating Ryan Tobin, who was up at heavyweight that just wrestled this previous match, beating him by 5 points in a match. That's an impressive win, and this guy's looking for a title this year.
Interesting story. Stephen Neal did not win, or I think even place at the state championships in California as a senior. And you know, last year there he was in the NCAA finals as a sophomore in college. Unbelievable story. He should be a 4-time All-American unless something does happen.
That is unbelievable. If he didn't place at the state tournament his senior year, the next year he takes 4th place at the Division I NCAA tournament. You talk about a turnaround, but this kid is a great athlete.
Well, Bruce, you talked about at your clinic today, you don't have to be the first guy to start the sport, but dedication is important and to stick to it. Oh, no points. And Aaron Richardson, I'm sure, was not happy he was at the bottom of that.
Boy, did he hit hard. Those guys, I mean, we're talking about probably close to 560 pounds going straight on the mat. Richardson getting the worst of it, ending up on bottom.
1:32 to go here in the first period. Still no score.
Over now, guys.
Stephen Neal, ranked #1, undefeated from Cale Bakersfield. Aaron Richardson,
Come on,
ranked #2, just 1 loss on the record.
Pick it up.
Neal's major move is that double leg that he was trying when he almost got thrown. Driving in, lowering his level, trying to attack the man's thighs with a double leg and driving into him. And, doesn't seem to really be doing it very hard or well right now.
Both wrestlers appear to be in excellent condition. You know, these heavyweights are put together pretty well. And the last time they met was the Vegas tournament, where Stephen Neal did win the tournament by, I think, a 3-2 score. So he definitely has an advantage tonight, being the #1 ranked and having a win over Richardson.
40 seconds to go in the period. And 2-point takedown. Stephen Neal right at the edge of the mat.
Right at the edge, just drove into him. Excellent position. You know, Aaron just could not move back quick enough to avoid getting run over and taken down.
Well, Bruce, you said these young men work at your camp. Do they mix it up at camp? Do they practice with each other? I mean, how well do they know each other?
They know each other pretty well, and I said they're, you know, Kurt Engle and Jeff Blatnick also work my heavyweight camp, and Aaron actually was the only person
27,
all summer
27.
long to take me down at my camp. He got 1 takedown, so they're both pretty fair wrestlers. Now, I'll admit I didn't wrestle Neal. He was in a little bit better shape than me this summer, so I just gave him the instructions to, you know, counsel the campers and so forth.
Boy, that is a great camp to go to. If you're a heavyweight, go up there. You're introduced to some of the best wrestlers in the world in the heavyweight division. It's fun to go up there and see all these heavyweights. I mean, you must have at least, what, 250 heavyweights up there. And you talk about a lot of beef. There's a lot of weight up there.
It's comical. There's nobody under 200 pounds there.
2-0 score at the end of the first period. If you just caught us, we're in the middle of an infomercial for Bruce Baumgartner's heavyweight camp. Let's take a look at that takedown again, guys.
There's a takedown. Richardson lowers level, and Neal just gets behind that thigh and drives right into him. Richardson just could not back up quick enough.
Go red, you go down green.
Back to action, and a flurry by the edge of the mat, but no scoring. And
well,
Stephen Neal will be back to the down position.
If you're really going to make it an infomercial, Jason Robinson also works the camp too, so a lot of people here tonight.
Where is this camp, Bruce?
Edinboro University, Pennsylvania.
Nice Granby roll by Stephen Neal to get out and get the escape and go ahead 3-0.
That move right there that Neal just hit to get away, I've never even attempted one of those in my life. That's some athleticism for a big guy right there.
You definitely don't want to get caught halfway through that move.
No, you can get hurt on that.
Not in heavyweight anyway.
1:15 to go here, second period. Neal leads it 3-0 over Aaron Richardson.
Let's go, guys.
You know, during the clinic, a lot of people ask me why I stayed in so long and why I continue to wrestle and how I got to be so good. And it's just the love of the sport, and I think both of these individuals, you know, really love the sport of wrestling. And and they really enjoy it. I mean, and you can see it in the wrestling.
Work, guys. Warning, red!
Oh, as Stephen Neal goes right into the scores table.
Red, you were warned there. Okay, let's go.
Now, Bruce, if they come this way, you know who's got to stand up and stop them.
I'll let Kurt stop them for us.
30 seconds.
Uh-oh. You know, it's still a close enough match here, even though it's 3-0. They really have to watch making mistakes, and it looks like Neal is somewhat tired, making some mistakes along the way.
And the fans now getting into it, stomping their feet, creating a little bit of noise here with 20 seconds to go in the second period. This is the final match of the night. And we're coming up the final seconds here of the second period. It's going to be Stephen Neal still leading Aaron Richardson by 3-0 count. Well, Richardson's in a down position, so he needs to score points, and that's not a bad place to start.
Here, Neal on the bottom, trying to work his way up, comes into a semi-tripod position, comes up to his feet, goes right into the Granby roll, comes around front, and he gets the point.
Back to action, and Aaron Richardson came to the standing position, could not score as he went out of bounds. 1:53 to go here in the match.
Richardson has been called for stalling.
I'll tell you what, these heavyweights woke the crowd up, didn't they?
They definitely have the crowd going. I'll tell you what, it takes a lot out of you when a guy picks you up and throws you to the mat. It really takes a little wind out of you.
And an escape by Richardson. Minute and a half to go.
Don't count him out now. He's only down by 2 points. He has 1:20 to work something, and I think Stephen Neal knows it's not a definite win for him. So
Stephen Neal does not look as sharp right now as he did in the first period.
One minute.
Second.
Start him back in the center of the mat. 51 seconds to go. Richardson in need of a takedown.
Richardson's going to have to start creating some action. He's the one with the stalling. Neal could actually take 2 stalling warnings and still win the match. You know, Richardson's going to need that 2 points, 3 to win it, 2 to tie and 3 to win.
it's really hard for Richardson to try to score here. He's not much of a leg attacker. He likes to create a lot of movement and hit high single legs, and they're not there for him. Neal knows it's coming. Richardson won't drop to his knees. He likes to stay off his knees, so you know, it's not that easy for him to score takedowns in this predicament.
Well, they just warned Neal for stalling, but with just 15 seconds to go.
Let's see if Neal takes the other warning.
Great defense by Richardson, being able to get out of bounds, forcing Neal to come out of bounds. No points were awarded. Neal's feet went out, and they're both back to the center with 8 seconds remaining.
Great effort on both athletes' part there.
That's going to do it. Stephen Neal maintains his #1 ranking and undefeated record with that 3-1 victory over Aaron Richardson. Let's turn to Jeff Blatnick now as he talks to the victor.
Steve, you didn't look like you were really happy with your performance when you left the mat.
I wasn't as offensive as I wanted to. Coming off a cold, I thought I'd be in better shape, but I'm not. You got to work on that.
Did you expect a real tough match from Richardson?
Yeah, he's a real tough competitor. I expected that from him.
Do you feel you two are going to meet again at the national tournament? And if so, how important was this victory?
We're going to meet. I think this might edge out a little bit in the mental aspect, but he'll be training hard.
Welcome back, University at Buffalo. That's going to do it for tonight, the 1998 NWCA All-Star Wrestling Meet. Kurt Angle, Bruce Baumgartner. And Kurt, we had some great matches tonight. Any surprise you?
I was very impressed by their performances tonight, all the wrestlers, but especially Mark Ironside, who beat Entzrud by 11 points. This is the second-ranked guy in the nation, the guy he's expected to wrestle in the NCAA Finals. 11-point win. You can't beat that.
And Bruce, of course, we had a victor from Edinburgh, so that was big. But just a great night here at the University of Buffalo.
Oh, definitely having Jason Robinson win, a guy I trained with for years, was great. But overall, I've been to a lot of these competitions. The fan was great. The wrestling was, I think, way better than the last couple of years. It was just an exciting event, and hopefully it's indication of what the rest of the season is going to bring in the NCAA tournament.
And we'd like to thank our third Olympian, Jeff Blatnick, for doing the interviews. Of course, this has been a big night for Empire Sports. Glad to be a part of it. Bob Koshinski, for the rest of the crew, have yourselves a good night. Much better tomorrow. Good night, everybody.